No, hello. Could you start talking?
Well, my name is Amy,
Yeah.
and I was on a march with Britain First, and it was to protest in Telford against the continuing issues with sexual slavery of girls in Telford and in England. And it's the first time I went on a march, and it was to attend a rally, and it was very peaceful. The Britain First were all holding flags, and we were just walking towards our meeting point, and I started to film because we came round a corner and saw a lot of protesters against us, and they were from a group that was Stand Up to Racism, I think is what the banner they had, and they were all shouting against us. And so I started to film, and the next thing I know, I felt a horrendous pain in my chest, and I saw a brick bounce off me, and somebody in the crowd who was protesting against Britain First just threw this brick from a long distance away, and it hit me, as I have to say, luckily in the chest, because it could have hit me in the head. And I just couldn't believe that these people who were supposed to be against hate and against racism and everything else that they protest that they're against ended up being violent, totally unprovoked. And I am very confused whether police were actually acting as guarding us as if we were trouble and protecting the what is called antifa, which seems to be a sort of new name for people who protest anybody who's against issues that are current, such as the issues with Islam and extremist behavior and what is happening to the country. So
Okay. My name is Marian Lukasik, by the way. I came to Amy do some interview. My question is, what do you think? Why so happened? Why was possible that you can get this stone on the church? Why? What is your opinion about this? This is if what they did police was okay, correct? What is your opinion about this? Please say it, you answer.
what with the police and what they were protecting them, and
Yeah.
the people who were, we were gathering peacefully to protest against what is going on in this country, which it seems to be being kept quiet by the media and by the politicians, which is this horrendous sexual exploitation of, it seems to be British girls, white girls, and I have been very shocked to find out just how bad things are. With obviously Rotherham came to light with 1,400 girls having been exploited by, well, they call them grooming gangs. And Britain First has one of the things that they're protesting against and trying to raise awareness of is the sexual exploitation of British girls, non-Muslims. And so when we went to do this march, the police would have known about where we were going, what route we were taking, and for whatever reason, which is still, I don't understand, they allowed these people called antifa, anti-protesters, who profess to be loving, peaceful and against hate. They were permitted to gather along our route, and at one point were probably only about 20 or 30 feet away from us, and the police were holding them back. There were people who were masked with the black gear, and it was one of those people who threw the brick and it seemed just very strange how the police didn't arrest any of those people who were being aggressive and abusive.
Okay, in my opinion, that police is guilty, or could you say she didn't she didn't good work, good job. In my opinion, government must pay for this mistake. We spoke with Amy that she should complain again government, again police. It's not possible. We came there. This demo was official. We should be protected, and this is for future. So happened there should be never ever happen.
Well, what happened when I spoke to an officer who's investigating my case? I questioned why people are allowed to cover their faces and just completely hide their identity when it's obvious from what has happened in the recent past that they're all out for trouble, and they're very aggressive and threatening, and they've been violent. And I asked the police why these people were not only allowed to be so close to us, but why they're allowed to cover their identity, cover their faces. And he tried to say to me that it's a free country and it's their right to do so, and there's nothing they can do about it. Well, I took it upon myself to look up the Public Order Act, and what it says is that when a demonstration is known to be taking place, the police inspector has the authority to ban anybody from wearing masks for a period of 24 hours. So the fact that our rally was pre-planned, and the police were fully aware that they were going to be there, they were fully aware that the anti-march people, the antifa they're known as, were going to be there, could have easily issued that order, and then those people would not have been so brave, because they're not brave when they've not got their faces covered. When they have their faces covered, they think they can do anything. And so, to me, I don't understand the system in this country where they talk about law and order and public order, and yet they don't do what they are supposed to do, which is to protect people who are going about their business officially and legally, and they seem to be allowing people who are out for trouble to...
We know what happened last week in London, Westminsters.
Yeah.
Few people was died, exactly 4 persons, and about 20 people was injured. The most injured was foreigner, not only British. Terror attack touch everyone. Britain first do 1st of April at 1 p.m. is the protest march against terrorism, against Islam terror. Do you want to go to there? What is your opinion? Are you scared about that? I go. Personally, I'll go because I was victim this justice and British law and GMB trade union. I should go. I know what's be victim. What's about you?
Well, before this happened to me, I have very strong feelings for this country that I've grown up in, and I feel strongly about democracy, and I'm extremely distressed by what is happening to our country at the hands of Islamic terrorism, and the fact that our politicians don't seem to be taking any actions to try to put any kind of halt on this atrocities that are going on. So it's very difficult for me now that I thought I was going on a march. I went on a peaceful march and ended up being a victim of horrendous violence. as a woman, and I'm not very big, I feel vulnerable. I don't feel that I can trust the police to be able to protect what are peaceful people trying to raise awareness of how wrong things have become and how out of control they are. So I want to go to show my support against what I see as wrong.
Against these victims of Westminster victims. Yeah, it is not possible to happen is in this country. My last question is, what is about your opinion? If should Islam be banned?
I believe that the way things have gone and how Europe is, what is happening all around us, and now it wouldn't surprise me on a daily basis, there's one attack or another in the name of Islam. I do believe that the government needs to take action against it and needs to, I would say, obviously, I would say ban it, or at least admit that there is a problem, because they're not even admitting, even despite the fact that this horrendous terrorist attack that took place on Westminster Bridge in the heart of London happened in the name of Islam by a man who drove his car into innocent people, is what happened in Nice, in Berlin. Within the space of 8 months, we've had 3, and they were all Islamic. That's the connection. They want to kill non-Islamic people. They want to get rid of democracy.
Okay, we spoke before. What is about words which said Mayor of London, Mr. Khan, that terror is part of life big London? What is your opinion about this?
That basically, for him to say that means that he has absolutely no interest in trying to prevent anything like this from happening again. He's given up. And the fact that he's a Muslim, he won't admit that there's an issue with Islam. And for him to say something so outrageous that's part of city life, the terrorism is something that we have to get used to, is an outrage. And there's no way that decent people who live here in London, one of the most civilized cities in the world, should be even condone that ridiculous remark. To say that we should get used to it is basically what he said, which is an outrage, and we should rise up against it and speak out against it and demand that our government recognizes the problem, which is Islam. I am not afraid of any Christians, I'm not afraid of any Jewish people, Hindus, Buddhists. There's no other religion that is carrying out these horrific outrages, this horrific terrorism, other than the Muslim Islamic religion. Obviously, not all Muslims are terrorists, but it just so happens that all terrorists happen to be Muslims lately. I don't know of any other religion or system that is carrying out any sort of atrocities against innocent people other than Islam. So something's got to be done.
Okay, thanks a lot.